Welcome, beauties. December 1st today. So we are officially heading into the holiday season. And that's what we wanted to chat about today. We know that, yes, there's a lot of joy and happiness around the holiday season. However, there are also a lot of challenges in the holiday season. We totally get that. A lot of people particularly challenged by kind of food and alcohol and everything that surrounds that. So what we did was create Helia's Holiday Thrive Guide. I know it's going to be backwards for you guys. But what we did is kind of put together our top tips and tricks kind of over our 50-year span in the industry to help you out when you're feeling like you're really challenged in terms of maintaining those good behaviors this holiday season. So if you're watching this on Instagram, you can get the guide by just clicking on the link in our bio. And if you're watching it on Facebook, we will throw the link in underneath it so you can get it that way. So enjoy that. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, there sure is. It's a pretty, fabulous breakdown of little hacks through the holidays.
If we do say so ourselves.
Yes. I think the first thing, Trace, is really acknowledging the last almost 2 years all of us humans have been stuck in and how starved we are for social connection.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big one.
Yeah, and how this social connection then lands us in these social environments where we are tempted with all things good.
Yeah.
Right? Food and bevies galore. And how that sort of entices us to kind of indulge and sort of seize the moment. So
yeah,
I think it really exercises or emphasizes the importance of sticking with the behaviors that have worked for you thus far. Right. So trying to keep up with that routine, waking up, going to bed at close to the same time, starting your day with a glass of water, trying to stabilize your blood glucose with 3 square meals a day, protein centric at each of those meals, and so forth. That's the one that kind of stands out front of mind for me.
Totally. And I think that you hit on exactly why this season can be so hard for people is because we're completely thrown out of routine. So even, we have clients who admit they don't love routine, but whether you love it or you don't love it, research tells us that we do better with routine. So all of a sudden we're in this season where routine is really can be thrown out of whack. And I think also we anticipate that, the holiday will be a day. So it'll be maybe the 25th, 26th, maybe New Year's. It turns into 6 weeks. We're already seeing, and our clients are already telling us in their work environments that they're already overloaded with food, chocolates, cookies, you name it, you get it. Probably not alcohol at work, but you never know. So those are environments that are new to us, right? We typically don't have to navigate those environments at work. So all of a sudden now we're having to do it. So that's why it's a challenge. So it's not that you're lacking willpower. It's not that people are stronger than you are. It's none of that. It's that we are pushed into environments that we're not typically having to navigate. So it's hard, right? So remember that. Give yourself some grace. Mm-hmm. I would say the other one is exercise, right? And I think why this is a big one is because people still tend to use exercise as a way to
calories.
Yes, right. So if we feel like the whole thing's just turning into a shit show, we tend to still throw our hands up and say, well, forget it. Exercise isn't going to help. So I'm just not going to do it. Right. Which is why we always talk about, uncoupling exercise and food. Don't even put them together. Exercise because it's good for your body. And particularly around this season, we need to be in our best mental health, right? It's hard. Being around family can be really hard, right? We talk about, Uncle Bob and his political rants in our Thrive Guide. So it can be challenging. We really need to go into those moments and those situations in our best mental health, and exercise or activity, moving your body is one of the best ways that you can do that. So whether you're staying on your same movement schedule, or maybe you're grabbing your kids, or you're moving together as a family, going ice skating, sledding, maybe when we get some snow. But, there are other ways to do it if you're not in your regular routine. However, if we can maintain that regular routine as much as possible, we're going to kind of come through to January feeling better.
Yeah. And I think I'll chip in there that it doesn't need to be an hour intensive session, right? Whether it's skating, walking, sledding, and so forth. It's those incremental wins that often serve us best and give us that endorphin hit. So if it's 5 minutes, it's 5 more minutes and you were doing prior to throwing the turkey in the oven, prior to prepping appies and so forth, right? It's just those small little windows of how we're spending that time that large in part change how we're showing up on the back end of our day.
And what's great also about exercise is a lot of people will exercise outside. So we're getting kind of a twofer, because getting outside in nature, getting that hit of sunlight, getting some fresh air, that can be the difference maker, right?
Yeah.
So, getting out for a walk is a great way to, maybe split up a family dinner.
Absolutely.
Potentially.
Yep. One of the best ways to reduce cortisol, right? That stress hormone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I would say, I mean, the big one that, that we frequently talk about is food, and we'll get to that. But I would say the other big one is alcohol.
You were going to go there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to leave it alone for once.
I'm going to go right in. First of all, I would say, and we mentioned this in the guide, you don't owe anyone an explanation for the way you're eating or drinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pressure from people this time of year to, well, if I'm, having a bunch of drinks, then you should too, right? Or why are you not having dessert, or whatever it looks like?
Absolutely.
Know that those are your decisions to make, not anyone else's, and you don't need an explanation. You just need to say no, thank you, right? So that's one piece. Also, though, if you're planning on having some alcoholic beverages, there are things that you can do to, cut that back if that's your intention. If you want to go for it, go for it. We're not saying not to.
Yeah.
There'll be implications, but we're not saying not to. But you can, split up your alcoholic beverages with a glass of water. You can have like spritzer.
That was turn a glass of wine into a spritzer. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of, potentially half your consumption pretty easily without getting caught up in the social, well, everyone else is doing it, why can't I kind of, dialogue. So there's that. I'm going to let you talk about water because it's your favorite thing to talk about.
This is so true. Besides chewing your food. I also love that.
Yes.
So water is one of those secret weapons we often circle back on, large in part because it dictates the way we show up at the appetizer table, at the bar, and so forth.
Yeah.
So if you did nothing else this holiday season but focused on water and hydration, that's the quickest way to manage your appetite, quickest way to enhance digestion, quickest way to keep your mental health in check, and so forth. So what often gets us into trouble this time of the year is we're usually indulging in copious amounts of bevies. If we break down what bevies are, they're large in part syrups, right? They're syrups and it's alcohol. Sugar. Yeah. That taxes our kidneys, right? We dump out too much water, too much electrolytes. We wake up with a screaming headache and lackluster feeling for the next day. So,
yay, holiday parties.
Yay, holidays, right? So by focusing on water alone, you are going to mitigate the hangover. You're going to mitigate dehydration and all the nasty things that come with dehydration. And it's the quickest way to manage your appetite, right? So drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning. If you're already doing that, maybe look at adding some fresh lemon to it, or fresh lemon
let's not
ice
go
cubes.
too far. Let's not go too far.
We have to speak to the round of individuals listening. And then focus on drinking water throughout the course of the day. It's the single quickest way to downregulate any kind of stressors in your body, manage your appetite, and manage how many bevies and treats are going down needlessly.
Yeah, so, to touch on the food piece, and again, we go into this in more detail in the guide, but to Dawn's point about managing appetite, the other way to do it is through protein consumption. So don't head into a holiday party having not eaten. That's a famous trick we hear from a lot of people. They just, I'm going to save up my calories. I'm not going to eat the rest of the day. And then I'm going to go into that holiday party. Always backfires because we go in ravenous and then we're like, like a vacuum. We're just eating everything, right?
Yes.
So if you can make sure that you're having something protein-based before you go, some veggies, you're going to fill your stomach with that good fiber and protein. And then the tendency is for you just to consume less. So, it's not, you're not going to go into the holiday party saying, I'm absolutely not going to eat anything that's on offer, because you know what, that backfires also.
Yeah.
But we can set ourselves up for success by kind of going in prepared, right? With a game plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple little hacks for you ladies, but if you have not had a chance to do so, ensure that you get a copy of this, because there's some really good little sound bites in there that serve as little reminders and some fresh new tips and tricks for you.
Absolutely. And here's to a fabulous holiday season.
Yeah.
We'll be diving in with our videos over the next few weeks about more things that can help during the holidays. And next week, I think we're going to film a holiday charcuterie board, which is going to be
Don't
super
miss
exciting.
it.
So we will catch you next week. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please let us know, and we will see you soon.
Bye, ladies.